Welcome to the hotline for today, Friday. 7th 7th of October, you know, people. Symbolously so. 2022. It's good to be with you. Thank you. We know you have choices. It's going to be a good day. Despite whatever else may be happening, you're going to claim it. You're going to stay with us and you're going to make it a good day. This is the hotline. So, yesterday we focused substantially on demolition exercise, which commenced at the Greater Bernard Lodge area in St. Catherine South constituency. And I want to remain there a little bit more with some of the information that has come in the newspapers today and also in the interviews I did with the two people on this program yesterday who claim to have paid for the land or a portion of the land. And I happened to have made contact with the present Attorney General, Derek McCoy, to better understand his legal perspective and the guidance which he gave to the government. That is important because, as I said to you, I understood the importance of the presentation made by the Prime Minister. So important was the presentation that the House took a short adjournment on Wednesday to allow for the Prime Minister to make his way to the Parliament to give a presentation which lasted perhaps an hour or a little, half an hour or a little over half an hour on this particular matter. And what the Prime Minister did was explain the nature of the activities taking place on the Greater Bernard Lodge area development and the plans for the area. I played a little bit of it for you. I want you to hear how the Prime Minister started in the Parliament.
The House may recall that the Cabinet appointed an enterprise team chaired by Chartered Accountant Mr. Linval Freeman to supervise the divestment of government-owned lands within the Greater Bernard Lodge development in St. Catherine. They commenced work in late January 2021, deciding to divest the development lands in phases. To date, 2 phases have been successfully completed, with a third now in progress. The Development Bank of Jamaica monitors and gives technical support to the enterprise team to ensure that the divestment is in keeping with government policy and governance standards. The Greater Bernard Lodge Development Plan which is projected on the screens before you, will create an integrated community of 5,400 acres of land, of which 3,027 acres, by far the largest share, are dedicated to agriculture, with the remaining 2,370 acres designated for housing, light industrial and commercial activities, social services, open and recreational space, and an urban center.
So there are plans that are far advanced for this area. It's an area of land with mixed usage, the highest and best use being agricultural/residential. The largest portion of it, he tells us, 3,278 acres. Those portions are best suited for agriculture, but the balance for housing, social services, and so forth. So there's a development plan for the area. Within the area is an already established community, Clifton, where hardworking people have acquired substantial portions of the land. And we've been made to understand that because of the nature of the acquisition and occupation of those portions of the land, they have been issued or are in the process of being issued letters of possession to these approximately 300 people in Clifton. It appears now that on the fringes of Clifton, SCJ, which has ownership of the land and in whose names the titles are held, they have come into knowledge, and it appears to be fairly recently, that particular activities are taking place. And these activities include structures going up, which I understand that they know. It appears that when they've done their due diligence, they realize that these are not structures that were there for any substantial period of time sufficient for people to claim legitimate title to the property. But over the last couple of months, over a year or so, you have buildings going up. And I keep using NAG because we get the concept of NAG. We know concrete structure going up. And man sell land. And people are claiming to be legitimate purchasers of land, showing up with receipts only, and going to the various agencies with their receipts to say that they're supposed to get a parcel of land or two over this greater Bernard Lodge area. With that understanding, the Attorney General said to me, Derek McCoy, I think King's Counsel, if you have a situation as a private holder of land and you wake up one morning and somebody takes up residence in your backyard and puts up maybe a little tent, whatever it is out there, you as the private owner of the land, you have a couple options open to you. One of which is, knowing what you know, you went to bed overnight and nothing was there when you went to bed, and you wake up in the morning and you see this tent pitched in your backyard and somebody's there asserting ownership. You can decide to engage what they call in law self-help and to get the person off of your land. That is not usually encouraged, and especially not in Jamaica, because people can be wrong and strong, and before you know it, blood run. So it's not encouraged, but it is, as the Attorney General said, a remedy open to any private owner of land, and the same applies to a company such as SCJ, who is the paper holder of the interest in the Greater Bernard Lodge area. In this case, self-help means getting in the bulldozers, and as you saw, because of the circumstances in Jamaica, there was the need as well to put the security services on high alert and for them to maintain a presence there in the event people had any other intentions to assert their ownership. Now, the Attorney General, Derek McCoy, King's Counsel, said if there are people there who legitimately believe they have a right to possessory title, meaning that they have a right to say that they have ownership by virtue of long possession, then they can assert those rights. And how do you assert the right? You can go to court and you can seek to say that I have dispossessed the legitimate owner. I am now the owner of the land. If you try to do it in the face of the tractavator, it may be a problem. But if you legitimately claim that you own this area because of exclusive occupation for more than 12 years, and your property is mashed down with the bulldozer, then there are remedies in law that are available to you so long as you prove the case in court. And all of that is good law, as I understand it. To be this area of law is not a lot of people properly understand. A lot of people talk, but it's how it plays out in actuality is not quite the way it is always explained. So he says the recourse is open are 1, self-help, 2, you can engage the court. So every landowner in the moment has to decide, depending on the nature and the extent of the occupation, you can decide which of the avenues you are going to use. And in this case, he advised the self-help because the land has development plans which are fully advanced. There are people who, I think the Prime Minister talks about legacy owners, and a portion of it has been given to NHT free of cost so that people can be part of the development plan, people who can benefit on the NHT. And the last thing you want is to allow illegality with the dimension that we have heard manifesting itself in this area. You don't want it to take root. Which brings me to perhaps the naivete, perhaps willful blindness, perhaps the lack of understanding on the part of our people, deliberate sometimes just not knowing how these transactions are to be carried out, particularly sale of land. Sometimes I sit and I marvel. One or do on a yard at daytime. If you now work, what is it that you choose to listen to be a source of education or to be a source of corruption to your ears? Why some simple things that's supposed to sort of come naturally to you, even if you don't go school to a certain level, some little questions are supposed to jump up in your head. Why are they not jumping up? How you can go buy land from a man who you know only as Clifton Brown, Rasta man. And nowadays, locks no have to grow. Locks can buy. Locks can take off. You don't have a TRN. You don't have any address for the man. You don't have a lawyer. You don't know who actually owns the land. And you take up your money. And you give to this man. You sign a paper. And you get a receipt. And so many times we tell you on this program, on this radio station, you're not supposed to buy land like that. On top of that, I know we don't like to pay taxes. But part of the reason why lawyering is important in purchase and sale of land is that government is to get taxes from sale of land. Government get taxes from the vendor. Government get taxes from the purchaser. You can't pass interest in land without that happening, and anybody who wants to cheat the treasury, you have to watch them. You can't sell land properly. You're not supposed to sell it without a proper sale agreement with the conditions outlined in it. And the problem comes in because in the name of poverty, and some of you think that poverty is unique to you. It is not. Poverty is not synonymous with stupidity nor naivety. And don't make it out so. Because a long time now for we are hustle. And don't think the conditions under which you exist are unique to you, or that some of us are strangers to it. And when we talk, you get up and use this word, talk about privilege, like you think it's gonna undercut what we have to say, because we never use kerosene lamp for study too. For we nose get black up when we are study with kerosene lamp. We use carbolic soap and bathe a river. 5:30 a morning, we walk 2.5 miles to go to all age school. So when you hear people talk, you think them rich so they can talk. That is not so. But we never use the poverty as a cover for stupidity, and then use it as constant oppression, because it is not. Yeah? Some of us have to ask ourselves, how can we empower ourselves to know when to make the right decisions in a moment when a deal that looks good to you, you know it cannot be good, but you're willing to turn your back to the little man on the left shoulder that's saying to you, do engage in this deal. And when the deal go belly up, your tears supposed to nudge the conscience of the nation, so we must turn around and bawl when you are supposed to be empowered in whatever state you are to make the right decision. We have to ask ourselves, why are we not making the right decision? Why are so many of us being fleeced by people who fooler than we? Because we're assisting people to cheat the treasury. And you go there, you're set up. And then a couple of years from now, when all sorts of diseases break out because the water structure is not there, crime festers because the light infrastructure is not there, then demonstration against the MP because them not have nothing, demonstration against the councillor, and then it becomes a fertile voting block that no council nor MP wants to do anything about it, we have to continue and allow some sort of complicity with what turns out to be a cesspool for criminality. And this is how things start in the country and develop to a point beyond our control. There are a lot of things out there that requires our empathy. But some things we have to decide, I cannot be empathetic about this, because, brethren, if you're walking at the hole and drop, it is highly likely you're going to hurt yourself. And when you hurt yourself, you mustn't turn around and expect me to be empathetic. When you have people who have visual impairment and for whom I probably need to reserve my empathy because they genuinely didn't see the pitfall. It's an awful situation. And I've never seen government action like this. But from what I'm made to understand, it is not a situation where these structures were there for years and anybody can legitimately claim to be owner. You can see on the Google map where this just come up. And indeed, the two people I've spoken to on this program and the ones that are quoted in the media is recent so-called acquisition of the lots by this gentleman, this Rastaman named Clifton Brown, where nobody can find, and who we know now is definitely not the owner of the land because his SCJ hold it. We have to learn, we have to teach ourselves to make the right decisions. And we don't always know the answers, but we should know somebody who can guide us to making the right decision. The acquisition of land is one of the greatest investments that anybody is going to make in his lifetime. So you don't come to the decision lightly. You don't just go draw out money and start build. You have to know that what you're building must have a sufficient degree of permanence because the foundation is properly passed on to you. Yeah? And as I said, the self-help measure that the government decided to use in this instance, it is not a measure I recommend to anybody who privately owns land because it can have its consequences. And that is why part of the reason the security forces were out there, to ensure that there were no unintended consequences on top of the criminality. The Prime Minister says the National Security Council briefed him to say that these are the things taking place out there. But if there are other people with other concerns that we've not yet heard, I certainly will welcome it here on the hotline. Arsenal and Liverpool playing on Sunday. Who want to bet on that match? Somebody are going to play a tree. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jesus. If we don't find something to make us happy. Oh, what a joy to be alive. I'm ready for you. Morning to you, Mr. Robinson. Morning to you, Kim. On Twitter, Cranston Kelly is saying the people who aid in the illegal sale of the land should be made to answer. They must know the Rastaman. the teacher or if any JP help to facilitate the sale must lead the police to the Rasta. The people who pay the Rasta man money, they can sue the Rasta, you know. Them can get back their money. But you have to at least know the name of the Rasta. If you don't know the name, then you draft up papers, go serve the Rasta. The Rasta can fill up court papers and say the real name. But I have a feeling that this Rasta is like here today, gone tomorrow. And I don't mean Hair. Anyway, everybody has a remedy. You have to know your remedy in this instance is against whom. SCJ has a remedy, and it has extracted its remedy from the people who were occupying the land. Well, the people who were building on the land, but the people who were building on the land claim to be building because they purchased from somebody. So the person that they purchased from, them need to go trace and find that person and bring claim against the person. Yeah? 876-926-2178. Morning.
Senora Shields, how you doing?
Not too bad at all. And you?
I'm not so bad, Shane here.
Yes, Shane.
Yes, I completely concur with everything you have said regarding land acquisition in Jamaica, and unfortunately, my heart bleeds for the people. And you know, the same thing, the people who lost their property. But I concur. Yes, the same thing that Miss Lucy said to you though yesterday about this technical situation where somebody's selling a land, and then this I want to say, I may show the land, and then you have to go through this, and then you have to go through that. Sometimes they tell you that they are getting a cut. Sometimes you don't know that they're getting a cut. But the bottom line is it's tough for people in poverty, or when you don't have the money. The bottom line is you have to get a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Not tell no lie, it's tough.
A lot of inquiries that lawyers make of the person selling the vendor's lawyer that you probably don't know about, and those inquiries are to make sure that you get land that the person who claims to be selling can legitimately sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't understand that. They don't want to pay the fee, they don't want to pay the taxes, so they cut corner, and then when work reach a working place, you hear whatever. Hold on a second, Shane. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. Remember, at 10:30, that's 19 minutes from now, we have On the Pulse with the Ministry of Health coming up. So whatever questions you have, feel free to call in to put it to the minister and the team that he brings here. Our numbers remain 926-2178, 926-8631, 926-7615, and 1-888-991-2080. 926-7615. Good morning. Morning.
What want to know?
You come in early.
You want base nice soup?
What kind?
No cowhead soup, man. Tell you now go up your mouth.
Then from last night you make it. You put it in the fridge.
Look at me, see. You
Say what?
You take me, I go put on. You know, cooking a bun pan, you know, man.
Eh?
You know, cooking a bun pan, you know.
Me know.
You know, cooking a teapot, you know, man.
What the name of the pan where we used to boil hog feeding in again?
Kerosene pan.
Kerosene pan you cooking now?
No, kerosene pan. I want salt pot.
God.
Yes.
Full of meat.
Me see, you know that already, you know, man.
Mm.
And you know, so me know in a rat bait business, you know, man.
Mm-mm.
No.
Then you put it in a fridge last night?
Then I must put it in a fridge, me see.
In a the pot?
Yeah, no, man, it's out in our next time pot, man.
In a pot?
I'm going to creep up that the pot that you go put in a fridge, man.
No, but you put it in a fridge in a pot?
Yes, man, I want Jester pot, man.
Me no want that. Me no want that.
Jester pot.
Cause soon you not remember nothing.
No, man, me had up and this for about sense, man. You think me I make it real?
When you you know, hear them say if you put something overnight in the fridge in a pot, make your memory go away. You never hear about that.
No memory for me. Memory good for you.
It's soon gone.
Gone with part.
So I forgot to take ginkgo.
And then I go over juice and where they are when me blend up and drink with green planting.
Yes, sir. That's why you don't dare blend a walking shop?
I mean, I want to blend up the next day
with green planting? Green planting going or something?
Yeah, man. You blend up the green plant, man. What makes it away at about? You blend the green plant, man, and so on, and so in a hit, man, I want supplement or something.
Supplement? For the island boom. With they drink supplement. Me never hear about the green plant in the dragon.
Yes,
the
man.
dragon. Green planting?
Yes, man. It's great all the pumpkin, man. It's great all the pumpkin and mix up with but you know, but a great I drink me need send one extract of America come give me.
What you said to me?
Yeah, man.
You heavy walking shop.
Yes, man. Me still do see me here. Take care of one whole heap of children when I couldn't find anyone saying God when me been happy, you know, man.
That's good.
Whole heap of them, man. Enough of them make me a leave you now for sometime me down and they call me, give me something, you know.
Yes.
Me used to get a busy for one lady. One lady did live up a forward named Miss Jatta. He used to teach up at basic school. All right, he have one daughter named Miss Murphy. When he come from foreign, he used to get a one pudding pan full of a busy for him. And at 13 years now, me no hear from him, and where they ain't call me. Where they ain't call me and send one money come give me something to take you buy food. Yeah, man, me I tell you.
13 years.
You know, hear from him, but he have my phone number. He said to me, Brother Bull, and no, say I have in our pocket book. And I did put in our jar, and he said 30 whole night telling him find it. Come on, and he said one money come give me something to buy food with him, man.
Nice. Hold on there. Maybe take a break. Go take out your food processor and fling in your dragon and your greater pumpkin and green plantain. Maybe take a break. Yes, walking shop.
Hey, you see respect me live here so now. I go move, you know, but I wait till when this time kind of dry up back to the place great up and city. I go go one place near Saddam.
My God.
I mean you address a Saddam district in Hill post office near to the deal.
Hussein community.
Yeah, man. Saddam district in Hill post office near to the deal.
Near to Dada Dale?
Yes, man. I just go be me address.
Dada Dale.
Yes, man.
Dada Dale is a place?
No, man. Saddam is a place, but the man we don't live there. You know, live there.
Oh, Dada Dale is the man.
And Dada Dale.
So Dada Dale still alive?
No, man. Dada Dale passed.
But everybody still know Dada Dale when you used to live?
Yes, man. They used to call him Mangoose Milk.
Mangoose milk?
Yes.
When you used to do with it?
You don't know what they say milk mangoose. You don't know what they say.
You that taste it?
Yeah?
You that taste mangoose milk?
No, man. Me my home mangoose raw. Me must say mad. Me kill one in my bed can over my bed can and one time me raw.
Then when mangoes are doing in your house?
You don't know when they just come in the call look for me. I don't know if I food in me look. I don't know.
I never see mangoes up close yet.
Yeah, man. Me then lie down on the bed, man. I hear one shot no by bed can and when I realize I look at one mangoose and she's up in it. You just take one plastic and squeeze him.
Eh?
Yeah, man. You don't know what mission he make company, but the mission he make company fail.
And him raw?
Raw in blood, when me have to take up a bleach and sit and map and sit. The map when me use it for them, me have to dash away how in blood raw.
But you really think that kill mangoes with the raw hand?
I mean, hand me take kill man. Hand can kill mangoose, but you must imagine what if you hold me finger, God bless me deal.
But you say you squeeze it, where you squeeze it with?
I want mash it with this hammer, I want mash it, what are they old time mash it, no party come from, I want brother best to be no mash. But he been lean up for one place, you hit me and take his things in the neck. So she read it and you get cross yourself, you hold your finger, you pray in a band. What you are saying, cross as what?
I never see a mangoes go there. Me only see them run cross road.
And then say if you see mangoes tonight, you know good mangoes.
What?
Me don't know them say any mango says you night and a good mango.
Oh. My God.
So, you know, some man give up the boat place, some man give up the boat place, and get to blame. I don't know how we're going to tell them that because he don't find fault to me.
Peel. Hey, God, I'm not going on the road with you.
Come on, heal up these videos for me. Bless up you, bless up all that time. Take care of me, all the best. Bless up yourself every time.
All right.
Take every time.
But I go sit down on a cold peel.
No, man, me get to me to get against
me know. You get it and you have your 300 odd pound now. Yes, you're done with that. All right.
Bless up all the best, Bye-bye.
Language of the people. You sit up on cold peel. If you don't understand that, you're not a student of the hotline. I went somewhere last night. And you only hear the young man, church sister. Once I hear that, I know it's a hotline listener. It's a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful. So, if you don't understand now, so you must sit down on cold peel and get what it means. Morning to you, Logan. 9268631. Hello. Coming up in the segment with the Ministry of Health, the minister has promised to bring Everton Anderson, who is the executive director for the National Health Fund, and he's going to come. So whatever questions you have, I know we had a couple questions last week on that, and we will get the answers, and whatever other questions you have on that and other matters, please bring them in. 8631, are you there? Hello? The line is open, I'm not hearing. Toll free?
Hello, good morning.
Miss Liz?
Yes, ma'am, how are you doing?
Not too bad at all. How are you?
I am fine, you know.
You are still on with your revolution that I hear about?
Yeah, man, I'm still on, and I hear about 2-3 weeks ago, my one of my very good friends, he told me that you wanted to interview us, the resistance, and I've been trying to make contact. And I know it's a good time also, because yesterday I saw a post from Comrade Raymond Price saying that he only read about 1865. And here we are again in a situation, the people versus invaders trying to take their lands. We are just reading on my phone something about citizens of Louida's Vale given until December 6th. So, it's good to get through to you because...
Who are the invaders?
The people who are the one that was brought back from Canada, given the whole of Portland, and he is now over in St. Catherine.
Given the whole of Portland?
Yeah, man, him own the whole of Portland. Him all on the road. Directing the rerouting, how the road must be built because he wants to land his helicopter, I think. Then you have the Prime Minister. You have the one, the white man that has been imposed on the PNP, vote JLP, but him imposed on this all.
Who's the white man imposed on the PNP?
I think he's in England frolicking now.
You mean Mark Golding, the legitimately elected president of the PNP?
No, he was illegitimately elected.
Who illegitimized the results?
The person who did the audit.
Not the audit done, said that. Where?
Yeah, man, an audit was done. Try interviewing
I don't need to interview anybody.
Yeah, man,
interview who?
Was done, and it was discovered, and the young man, Brown, his name was, said that he created 33 illegal groups with 90 votes. But that don't divert. Let's not divert.
No, but that is the reason you have your resistance group to say that Mark Golding is illegitimate and unsuited.
No, the resistance is about the People's National Party, founded by Norman Washington Manley.
Yeah, but it must be based on some truth, though.
Yeah?
It must be based on some truth, because what you're saying now about...
True. The People's National Party was founded by Norman Washington Manley on... it was launched on September 18, 1938 at the War Theatre, but it was actually founded May 23rd, 1938, while he addressed workers on the waterfront. Mark Golding has publicly challenged that, saying that Norman Manley is a liar. He's not the founder of the PNP. It is actually O.T. Fairclough, which is not true. So the resistance, we in the PNP resistance, we are members of the PNP. We have always been, will always be genuine members of the PNP, led by Comrade Karen Cross here in Jamaica. And then we have the international persons also involved, Michelle Stern, the great researcher. We are standing our ground and resisting in the interest of the PNP because you see what is happening.
You can resist all you want, but you are not entitled to assert things that are not true, including
what did I say that is not true?
Including that the vote for him as president has somehow been invalidated by some audit. I was there for the election.
You were there? Where were you?
What do you mean where? We broadcast from there. I had an era set up there. We interviewed Lisa.
The voting took place in several parishes.
Yes, well, I was at Maiko.
Yeah,
I was at Maiko. The results came in.
Too.
That election was manned by the Electoral Office of Jamaica, as are all general elections, and never have I heard of this fraud that you are complaining about now.
That doesn't mean that fraud was not. Again, the young man named General Secretary, he has been silenced. We haven't heard from him for months now.
Which General Secretary?
He was General Secretary of the PNPYO. He was the one who came public.
Who is that?
In his statement, he said, Brown is his surname. I don't remember the first name. It's Andre Brown.
Is Clifton Brown?
No, I don't remember. No, I don't think it's Clifton. I think it's Andre Brown.
Find out this.
You're laughing at the people in Clifton.
No, I'm not laughing at the people in Clifton. Don't do that.
Okay.
And Clifton, remember now, yes.
And you chuckled because you said Clifton.
I have to chuckle because all these brown coming up, I want to know if Andre is related to Clifton, this fictitious Rastaman that the people said them buy land from.
Well, it can be fictitious, you know, it's a human being. But what is happening now is an eye-opener for the people of Jamaica that the PNP resistance is right. Here you have this group, this clique, as Michael said they were from 1976 in that brilliant oratory speech, 75,000 Jamaicans who attended that conference. This clique has decided, and it's unfortunate, the clique is led by a former president and prime minister of the from the People's National Party. This clique has decided that Jamaica is their domain, their plantation, so they are going to kick the people right into the sea, dump and kick some of them on the dump, because they want to park their yachts and land their helicopters on the road. So what happened with the Ian Fleming Airport? The state fund was given and build that place, you know, and them find $4 billion Jamaican dollar worth of cocaine. So, you know, we are saying that the resistance is right. And this is going to lead, because I don't think I think the people should stand their ground. How can you be sending in this 21st century, sending bulldozers to destroy people's lovely, lovely home, civil servants, nurse, soldiers, as we have heard, teachers? How can you be doing that in this modern civilized world?
What do you mean, how can you be doing that?
No, you can't be doing that.
Why not?
People didn't vote for that to be happening to them.
Listen, this is the problem, you know. There's a fundamental difference between politics and law.
No, there isn't.
No, in my mind there is, and I think it's the convolution of both. Why there is a problem. There's a difference, and as I said, yesterday I asked some questions here because I understand that people who take up possession of land without permission of owner, time begins to run at a certain time.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
There are natural law and man-made law, right? Right? You have natural law and man-made law.
I don't know what is the natural law. Like what? What's a natural law?
One of the natural laws is that for example, between June 1st and November 30th, we have a system called hurricane season. That's a natural law. Okay. Now, we were taught, did God create the heaven and the earth? Was it God who created the heaven, or was it the late Her Majesty, now His Royal Highness? They are the creators of the Caribbean, the English-speaking Caribbean, right? It is not God. right?
I don't know where you get the last part from, but...
No, I'm asking you.
Well, people are free to assert any position that they want. I don't know about the Queen Elizabeth being the creator of any earth. Well, how long ago the earth was formed?
The land, God created the earth, right?
That's what that's the Christian belief, yes. But there are those who don't believe that. They believe the earth was formed millions and billions of years ago.
By scientific...
Yeah, yes.
Good. But it still is not. It is not a creation of any person, white person, wearing title of being royal.
Yes.
Right? And head of Commonwealth. So
Yeah.
the land, you own the clothes you have on right now. You own your wedding ring. Because when you move, the clothes move with you. None of these people, Andrew Holness, Mark Golin, PJ, Lee Chin, Omar Davis, none of them own the land. The land was created. The last thing that God did on the sixth day was create the human being.
Hold on. I have to go to a break and to take the minister. I really want to continue this with you, but so please call me back. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. It's time now for On the Pulse with Public Health, and I'm happy to be joined by Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Tufton. Minister, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Emily. Thank you very much, and thanks to your listeners for tuning in. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And we have a heavyweight team of technical support, the Executive Director of the National Health Fund, Mr. Everton Anderson. Welcome, Mr. Anderson.
Morning, Emily. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Welcome, Senior Director, ICT and Individual Benefits with the NHF, Mrs. Anne Logan. Welcome, Mrs. Logan.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to your listeners.
Morning, Senior Director of Pharmacy Services Delivery, NHF, Miss Grace Ann Johnson.
She's temporarily not here yet, but...
All right. And do we have the Director of Health Promotion, Public Relations and Customer Care, NHF, Miss Charmaine Robotham?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, Emily. Good morning to your listeners.
Good to have you. Director Child and Adolescent Mental Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Judith Leiber returns. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, Emily.
Good. Shall we just have a quick kick-off with you, Dr. Tufton?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I know time is limited. We brought the heavyweight team, but we don't need necessarily to use all of them just as needed, but just to be sure.
Yeah.
So this week we had a couple of interesting things. I'll go right into that. One, we launched our school mental health program, which is actual teaching of mental health skills to trainers within the education system. That was launched in Hanover a day ago. Dr. Leiber and her team were there. Very excited about that because we believe that we need to mainstream coping mechanisms around mental health in our schools. So over 500 teachers, over 127 schools initially over the next 3 months. And they in turn will train students to deal with some of the issues that are clearly present within that cohort, which is leading to some of the antisocial behavior we're seeing. So hopefully that will play a key role. Next, we launched Code Care in a practical way. Yesterday, I was very proud at Montego Bay Hospital in of course, St. James, where our first 3 patients did prostate surgery under the Code Care arrangement, public-private partnership. One man waiting for nearly 6 years. Not proud of it at all, but this to my mind justifies why we need to do what we're doing. And there are many others slated to get surgeries under the private sector arrangement. And I will soon announce the first arrival of a team later this month from abroad to support our local surgeons to continue to clear up that backlog. So for me, those were 2 very exciting things. Beyond that, Emily, I have Mr. Anderson and his team.
Yeah.
There were 3 questions last week, and I wanted him to just go right into that quickly and then open the lines. One is the issues around glaucoma drugs, if it's available in the public system. The other was around heart disease drugs and Alzheimer's. And I wanted him or his designate to quickly deal with those so that we can then hand back to you with your listeners and callers.
Yes, Mr. Anderson, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Just to say that we are heavily involved in providing pharmaceuticals at various levels in the country. In the public health system, we provide medication for free. And in that arena, we provide over 800 items to all the public hospitals and clinics. On the NHF card, where there's a subsidy, we have over 2,000 items that we subsidize. And on the JADEP card, there are 77 items. I just wanted to put that in context before answering the specific question.
How many you subsidize on the NHF card?
Over 2,000 items, 270 active ingredients, over 2,000 actual items, right?
The specifics.
Right. With regards to the issue of glaucoma, we do provide glaucoma medication free of cost at public health facilities, and do provide a subsidy on glaucoma medication on both the NHF and the JADEP card. There was one specific item that I think was raised, the issue of Xalaton. It's not a Venlist item, but it can be had on both NHF and JADEP. In fact, last year it was our most claimed item with over 51,000 claims for that specific item. I think issue of availability is what we have to address, and we have to work with our partners to ensure. And the partner includes the patient, so we're encouraging them whenever they have an issue at a specific pharmacy location to get in touch with us. The other question was about free medication for heart disease. Again, we provide a number of items free of charge in the public health system for heart disease, and there are also drugs that are subsidized on the NHF program and the JADEP program for heart disease.
Okay.
The third one was about Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Alzheimer's is not currently covered by the NHF card. We, however, provide Alzheimer's medication free of cost in public health facilities. So I think that would answer the three major issues that came up last week.
Yeah, very good. So the gentleman, I remember his call about the glaucoma. You're saying if he has a problem at a specific public health facility, then he should get in touch with where? What number should he call?
Right. Our customer care line is 906-1106. And while we look out for all customers, we have asked our reps to be particularly attentive to those over 60 persons. So when they call, we will go to whatever length it takes to ensure that they get the medication, because not all drugs are at all of our pharmacies, provider pharmacies, all the time, and this is really a global phenomenon. But wherever it is, we will make an attempt to source and to find it, and this is something that we do on a daily basis. So again, the number is 876-906-1106.
Okay, we have Mark in Manchester. Morning to you, Mark. Welcome to On the Pulse with Public Health.
Yes, Emily, good morning. You know, first a comment. I like how the individual just a while ago conveniently said 60 years and older, meaning that person under 60 can blind for their sake. Because I have a cousin, I have a nephew who lost his vision at 28 years old because the medication that he was using for glaucoma, he could not get none of them in the public health service. That's one of them, right? Could not get. Now, I'm using 4 eye drops for my personal issue here. And he's saying that you can get them in the public, in the public. That is not the case. The first one that I'm using is one that is called Brimzatin. That is not found in any pharmacies in the public service. Because I checked, look here in Manchester and in Kingston, none of them is here. The second one is Luton Tea. I can't get that one in any public pharmacy. The third one is another one that is called Brimro Press. Those are not in any of the public health pharmacy in Manchester, neither in Kingston. Because I call all over the place.
And the fourth one?
None of them is sourced there.
And the fourth one?
I don't know what he's talking about.
What's the fourth one, Mark?
The fourth one is one which is called this one is for the itching. This one is called
okay. You can't remember. So Mr. Anderson, the question, do you have any generic ones akin to?
All generic.
Oh, these are all generic. Mr. Anderson, respond. 3 of them he named, he said they're not available. What does he do?
Okay, so the fourth one is I think it's Comax.
Okay. Hold on, Mark. Let Mr. Anderson answer.
Right. Just to comment, when I deliberately started by saying that we have what we call a VEN list, vital, essential, and necessary list. So the Ministry of Health every 2 years or so produces that VEN list. So the items we have in the public pharmacies are those items that are listed on the VEN list. In many instances, when persons say we don't have a drug, we actually do not carry that drug. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask our pharmacist in Mandeville to make direct contact with Mark. And even if they're not on the VEN list, we sometimes do special sourcing for patients and look how we can assist them to resolve it.
And excuse me, I'm also a member of the clinic in Mandeville also.
Right. So the person who will call you is Grace Ann Johnson, and she will have a specific look at your prescription. But just be clear that you have thousands of drugs
and this
across the world.
And this is the point I was making, if I may, Emily and Mark. I don't want the impression to be given that we don't have drugs for eye care, because it's a function of what we carry. And sometimes drugs either phase out or in short supply globally or otherwise, or sometimes doctors prescribe a particular drug. So you have different brands. The truth is NHF cannot carry all the eye care drugs that exist in the world, because to do that would be prohibitively expensive. We can't stock it and inventory it. So what we do, of the 17 or 18 categories of illness, we may have 30 drugs or 50 drugs for a particular category. To go outside of that becomes suboptimal, because it may mean only 5 customers want it and you have to spend money to bring it in and store it and so on. So in this instance, what we may do is do a special arrangement for the person if that drug is deemed to be absolutely necessary for them and their particular condition and resistance and things that they are allergic to and so on. But outside of that, it's not something we encourage. Otherwise, we could be all over the place and it could be a waste of money. But in Mark's case, we will follow up and find out from him and this doctor why he needs those particular drugs.
Mark, we already have your number. I know you're the one who called last week. Do you already have your contact so we can pass on to Grace Ann?
If Daniel has it, so.
Yes, we do. All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Let's take a break. We're back with you on the Pulse with Public Health on the hotline in a moment. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. We have the Minister of Health and the team dealing with matters concerning National Health Fund and also with matters concerning public health, mental health. So whatever questions you have, please come with them. I think I'm on to know. Thea? Is Thea there on the line? Thea in Kingston? Hi.
Minister and your team, good morning. Thank you. 2 quick questions, please. The first is on behalf of my mother, who's in her late 70s. She had gotten her COVID vaccines last year, April and June, and got the little registration number to apply for the grant from Ministry of Finance. And every time she called or emailed, she was being told that it was being verified. I followed up on her behalf and got the same response, and we've got nothing to date. So I just wondered if the ministry could shed some light on that. And the second question is, Minister, when are you going to end the mask mandate? Because I can go into a plaza near me, into the supermarket, and I'm not required to wear it, but the pharmacy right next door to it requires it. Or I'm required in one government agency, but then I go to a government-hosted event and I'm not required. So there is an inconsistency, and I'm not seeing where it is still needed. So those 2 are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo.
Thank you. Thanks, Theo. Thanks for those questions. Firstly, the actual payout for the vaccine is managed by the Ministry of Finance. The best I can do, which I'm happy to do, is to take your particulars and follow up with them to find out why your mom is not getting her payout. Clearly, there must be an administrative issue because the Ministry of Finance has been quite efficient in paying out. So if I get that, I will follow up. Secondly, there's no mask mandate that is in effect at this point in time. You can, if you so desire, wear your mask. If you don't, you don't have to. However, institutions, as maybe some householders, may mandate access to their facilities and with a mask. I mean, this has happened to me in some places. I go into, where was it recently? Oh, I actually went to do my eye checkup. And I walked in without my mask, and I was told promptly to go back outside and put on my mask. That is a decision of the company, and I comply because I want the service. But there's no automatic mandate that is in effect. Whether or not, why people do it, people assess risk. Some people are more risk averse than others. And I suspect that is why you have what appears to be an inconsistency, but the policy doesn't require you automatically to do so.
All right, Thea, hold on. Let's take the details for you so we can get the details for your mom.
You.
And I hope she's well. Hold on. All right. Joyce in Linstead. Let's get Thea's details.
Hello.
Hi, Joyce. Welcome. The minister is listening and his team.
Hello, Miss Emily.
Hi.
Yes. I'm a patient at the Linstead Health Center. And I go and get my regularly checkup. But the other day, I get a pain right in the left side. Because I met an accident from 1972, so I don't know if it's it, why the pain keep coming. And I get the medication, that's the prescription. I didn't never have that because they said the NFC card couldn't carry it, so I buy some. But it is very expensive at the pain pill. And then the thing again, I'm diabetic, asthmatic, and there's the two them breaking out right now. I have 3 but 2 to come out, and I can't afford it because they say me can't go to any pharmacy go take it out, any dental place go take it out, and I can't afford to go to the special dentist, that is a doctor. So I want to find out from Minister, can I get my teeth them take off? Because I'm not well.
Right. So, Emily, maybe you can help me. It was a little muffled. One is a particular medication and the other is her extraction?
Yes, one is pain medication. What's the name of the medication, Miss Joyce?
I don't know, because I just and the prescription to the pharmacy.
Okay. At any rate, you probably couldn't read it. So there's a pain medication, and then she wants to know if there's anything in the public service, any dentist she could use in the public service to extract teeth.
Oh, yes. Well,
hold on, Miss Joyce, please.
The first question, again, it's an issue of the VEN list and what is available. There are many pain medications there. So if she has tried a pharmacy which doesn't have that one, she just needs to speak back to the doctor and let them recommend an alternative, or call the line that Everton spoke to for some options, because the NHF is very efficient in following up both with the institution, Linstead Hospital in this case, or the doctor to say, listen, you prescribe this, we either have it somewhere else, the NHF even does home deliveries sometimes, we will drop it off so she gets it, or these are the 1 or 2 other options, so the doctor can say, okay, you don't have that, give them that. So what it requires is a little follow-up, and I'm happy for this opportunity, and hopefully all the listeners out there will take this as a cue to do that if they have these kind of issues. On the extraction, we have 80 dentists in the system, 83 actually, serving 80 locations.
Any in Linstead? Hold on, Miss Joyce. Yes, Minister.
I believe so. I know we have a dental service in Kitson Town. I know we have at St. Diego. So is it that she checked Linstead and there is none? Are they not working or what?
They locked down about 4 years now that the health center down there locked down.
And Linstead Hospital?
Health center, she said.
The health center.
What about the hospital, Miss Joyce?
The hospital don't do the extraction. They don't take out teeth.
They don't take out teeth at the hospital.
All right, tell you what, just give your number to the producer for me and we'll follow up with it. But that's a very easy fix. Very, very easy. All right? I mean, ideally, if you have such an issue and others do, contact your parish health office.
Yeah.
Your parish health officer will give you all the locations that do dental work, oral health care, and you go to the nearest location, get an appointment and get it done. But we'll follow up on your behalf.
Hold on.
Yes, because I have the diabetic and diabetic on the health Monday.
Yes, we heard. Hold on, let's take your details so we can pass it on to the ministry so they can see what they can do for you. You hear?
Yes.
Hold on. Let's go to the next caller. I'm on the line. Let's put Miss Joyce on hold. Lots of lines. Which one do I go to now, DT? 876-926-8631. Good morning. Who is this?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Morning to everyone. I am from St. and I was in Kingston working with JECC.
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
I am Markland.
Markland.
From St. Thomas. And I had an accident at JUCC and I was getting a B pension.
No, you have a question for the Minister on Health?
Yes, on health. Because I'm not getting the form to sign for from the doctor. I used to go to the doctor from the company at Medical Associates, and the NIS used to take me there. And then now that the pension has stopped, they said they need the doctor to sign off on the form for me to get the indemnity. And I'm not getting through nowhere. Not getting through.
This is a doctor in where? Which facility?
The Medical Associates. Dr. The company used to carry me there. And Dr. Thompson.
Yeah, but if I may, I mean, that's a private entity, so I think you may need to sort that out between the institution and the organization. Unfortunately, we don't
Medical Associates is a private. You have to probably talk to the administration at Medical Associates, Markland, and see who there, maybe this, what you call it, senior medical officer, can tell you where the doctor is so you can get that document signed to send in. Yeah, because the minister will only handle public facilities. He can answer in relation to those. You hear?
Okay.
God bless you. Thank you. Minister, had a young lady last week who called after you left, lamenting, I think she's just completed her degree as a doctor, and she's wondering about the posts in the public health facility. I think you had said before that there'll be some expansion, or you'll take junior doctors on a needs basis. Where is that? Because she's now out there and can't find anything to do, having completed her studies as a doctor.
So what has happened is that the senior resident officers, the doctors in training who graduate as quote-unquote junior doctors, the university has been training more than previously over the last number of years. And those who come in and leave the system have somewhat slowed down. And so what we are facing now is that the capacity to absorb all who graduate has become very difficult. We had the issues during COVID, and we absorbed many of them on a contract basis because COVID needed extra capacity. But the truth is, over time, we will absorb more when we do the transformation of the primary health system. But right now, more is coming out than is required to replace those who are leaving. And that's a dilemma that we face, which means we can't take everybody. And know that there's an expectation, but it is never automatic that because you graduate, you will be absorbed in the public system.
But about how many out of each graduating class yearly can the public health system absorb?
I would say maybe, I don't want to make any sort of, but I'd say probably 2/3. That's a general understanding or feeling that I have, but I could get the better particulars and outline that. I'm not sure how many have been not absorbed this time around. I need to check on that.
Right.
But that is the real dilemma that we face, our capacity to absorb all who graduate.
Right. Now, I've had a question from a caller of mine, Comrade, for weeks now, asking about the how much do you pay, or do you pay the pharmacies to administer the COVID vaccine? And if so, how much?
The private pharmacies, yes, when it was being done. I'm not even sure now that it is still continuing, because I know some of them have stopped. I think they've all stopped. So yes, when we had brought the private pharmacies on board, we were paying them, how much is it? Was it $1,500? I don't remember the exact figure, but it was a manageable sum for the value that was created to provide the extra outlets. But I believe that the take-up has slowed considerably, and many of them would have had to put in place a nurse and so on, so it wasn't worth it for them anymore. So you would need to now go to the public health institutions to get the vaccine.
Right. If we could get an idea next week as to how many vaccines were administered by the pharmacies and how much was paid out, I think that would be good.
Yeah, sure. We can get that. That's
not a problem. We have a minute and a half to go. Who is it that wants to come in?
On the dental facility, Bogwalk Health Center provides oral care. So that caller earlier can go to Bogwalk Health Center, which is in our vicinity.
Miss Joyce, you can go to Bogwalk, call them and let us know if they say that is available. Miss Logan, Senior Director, anything you want to add to what has been said so far by way of clarity?
Just in terms of the ven list, just to encourage the patients that as our minister indicated, that the list does not cover all the items that are available, and there in no jurisdiction would you find that the formulary covers all the pharmaceuticals available. So it is imperative that the physicians in the public sector be guided by the ven list in prescribing for the patients. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Right. Mr. Anderson, any final word from you?
Right. Just agreeing with Anna and just reiterating our commitment to ensure that we do what we do in the interest of the patients, and we ensure reasonable availability of pharmaceuticals. Thank you.
Final word, Minister.
If I may, in closing, what I've noticed, and I really value these exchanges, by the way, I'm happy to entertain persons, whether they're upset, sad, and hopefully some of the satisfied one will call too. But one of the lessons coming out of these programs,
10 seconds,
is that problems can be solved if we talk more about them and inquire, because all of these issues have solutions. So I want to thank them for calling.
Thank you, Minister. Talk again next week. I'll back announce after it's headlines time. That's on the pulse with the Ministry of Health. All the best to all of you. Headlines time. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. 876-926-2178, 926-8631, 926-7615, and 1-888-991-2080. I'm with you, 2178. Good morning.
Hello.
East Central.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Welcome.
No, someone get some problem this morning. Yeah. Because I remember the 2018 when the state of emergency did held.
Which one?
The first state of emergency.
In St. James or in?
Yes, please. Yeah, in St. James particular. I remember the talk show host was responded to the public defender Arlene Harrison Henry concerning the people detained compared with person who has been charged with a crime. It was reported up to October 9, there was 3,687 persons, or above 139, or about 4% of that has been charged with a crime. Mr. Millie, we know the officers have to do their work. And for keep those days, I remember, because I was a jury panel in 2018, sometime around here. And some of the person will come to the St. James Parish Court. Some of them today hasn't been in days. Mr. Millie, how would you look at people who are being detained?
They must be treated in a humane way. And we know what the full gamut of humane way means.
Okay.
Yes, that is without question. The fact that only 4% of them is charged,
Yeah.
it is completely understandable to me. I don't live under a rock. And I'm not going to turn a blind eye to what is happening. The reason we have such a difficulty in solving a lot of the murders is because the police, they get the intelligence that X person may have been involved in the commission of the crime. So they go in and they hold X person on a reasonable suspicion of he having committed a crime. But for them to charge, then person Y, who is alleged to have seen X do it, must go in and give a statement to the police that can cause that person to go to court to give evidence. And people don't want to do that. So I'm not surprised that only 4% at the time of those who were detained in an SOE were charged.
Okay.
Part of the reason why the murder rate go down in a zone where the state of emergency is declared is because the police hold on to the people who are alleged to be committing the crimes. That's why some of them migrate, but some of them are definitely involved in the commission of the crime. And if we don't think so, something wrong with who killing the people of the country over 1,200 yearly, who is killing the people? Because the people them not kill themselves.
Yeah, I understand that. And she go on and she say further on, and those detained are held in condition where there is no unwashing facility.
Yes, I remember
Lighting, scabies, rashes, respiratory illness are some of the illness which afflicts detainees.
Yes.
Toilet don't work properly and there is hardly any air passing through the holding cells.
Yes, that's wrong. All wrong.
You see me like I get some problems. What I'm gonna do?
No, I remember that report from the public defender, so it's a reminder. It's not.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not
And
fresh.
Yeah. And I know that you said that's wrong with holding people in a space where there's no unwashing facility and there's no air passing through the holding cells. Miss Millie. Mama asked you some question I never asked you before. You are a justice of the peace?
No.
Okay. So you visit lockup?
Yes, to see my client if retained for criminal matters, yes.
Okay. And that space we're talking about, or what the journalist did express her feelings about, that space, is it reasonably enough to keep amount of detainees what the journalist did speak about those days, or it's
which ones? Which journalist?
Miss Emily, man, no, ask me the question.
No, I don't know what you're talking. Which one?
Miss Emily. Those were your words, you know.
Which ones?
Those were your words.
The words you just quoted to me were mine?
Please.
Huh?
Yes, please.
So I was, but they were my words, but I was quoting from the public defender's report, no?
Yes, please, but I've asked you if you have ever gone to the lockup, if the space are reasonably. I am asking some question now, because first I asked you if you have ever been to the lockup, it's to visit a client.
Yes, yes, no,
yes.
When I have it, but the lockup I go, those conditions don't exist.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
And if they do exist, then I would take it up with the people who are there. But those words were the public defenders in relation to the detention centers that they, particularly the men in, the people in St. James were being held under.
Yeah.
As I recall them, and I don't support that.
Okay.
We need a whole heap of new prisons here, I don't support the conditions under which convicts get sentenced to hard labor.
Based on you say you don't support the condition where she might speak of those days, and I don't know if it's a change, because I remember Mr. Matissa would have built out a new facility to house patients, which is like sick patient or cancer patient or sick patient in general. So the question I wanted to ask, which question, forgive me, Samuel, do you know that there's a right to liberty in terms, do you know that there's a right and a liberty to protect someone's liberty was being curtailed without justification?
When?
when someone has been taken into custody, just like in terms of you just pick up someone, you have a right and a liberty to protect someone. Justification wasn't justified.
Yes, if the police pick up somebody without any reasonable suspicion of the person having committed a crime, or reasonable suspicion that the person is about to commit a crime, then that is an unlawful pickup. Okay. And the person can submit. Remember, I told you yesterday, submit first, and then you take action after. Eh?
One night that rides mine.
No, why? A green lizard? Anytime something ride your mind. When you kill green lizard, the lizard ride you at night time. But me never give no green lizard.
But you know, say forget something which is not suitable for you, or somebody do something where you don't see no reason for the person to use the weapon against you.
Yes.
And the person use the weapon and inflict wound against you.
But you're going to get back your right, you know. Essential. Yes, you're going to get back your right. You can't give away your right, because sometimes what we do, we fly up and we start to fight the police in the moment.
Miss Emily, why are you speaking to me in general terms?
No, I'm speaking to you in specific terms.
You're just using me as an example then.
Are you may I talk to?
Okay,
so that's cool. I'm being specific. I'm saying essential.
Okay, that's cool.
We cannot fly up on police when police stop we on the road. Claims that they're doing spot check.
Yes, please.
And they want to search whatever, and you can ask, do you have a suspicion that I have committed a crime, officer?
Yes,
and they may say whatever and start to push back and start to ask you what you do, because them now think you're about to record them and whatever else.
Yes,
and if they say to you, do not do this, do not do that, as much as you think what they're saying is wrong, it's okay to submit, make your notes about what they're doing, and then after the fact, you take whatever action you think you need to take.
Yeah, man,
when you're hand in a lion mouth, what you do, East Central?
Take it out. Come here.
Take time, take it out.
Come here, the Deputy DPP, Mr. Duncan, speak of that before.
Mm-hmm.
But Miss Emily, I want you to go to early childhood right away.
Last question.
Right away. Early childhood, no question. We attack.
Yes.
You know that I am on Google Class. Wherever my data is, always on Google Class. And there is some challenges, as in people to purchase in textbook. So during the Google Class, about an hour ago, Miss Emily, you know what I do? I say, all right, and I'm going to purchase a textbook, an English textbook. And this is the way I'm offering the book. The first student will come through the class, the last Monday in this month is going to get the book. But if she has read as the book, well, the teacher might turn it over to someone else. That's the way of helping someone know, even without not knowing, you understand? So everybody have to just student come to school early in the morning and see who can get the book for who have the book.
What kind of book is it?
It's a grade 2 textbook.
On which subject?
English textbook.
English.
Yes, please.
No. So why you have to buy it when it's available on Google Classroom?
No, Miss Emily, sometime I know everybody have a tablet, Miss Emily. I can buy one book, man.
Oh.
Yeah, man. That's not so bad, but in terms of that, now, me or next lady say, I wish I did my data get the book. I mean, because the Google Classroom is interested in Miss Emily here, all the things where people find shorter and all the things where the son and daughter improving in some areas. Can you know after the
you can watch it. You can see what the progress of the child on the platform without you having to be in a physical classroom, right?
Yes, please. You know, me do lessons on that even time with my daughter. Yeah, man, because, you know, I want it to be just as fluent as you are, or Miss Ford, or Miss Anne-Marie Furtado, because I always like you people, you know, you always expressing nice things, make me feel comfortable in doing any little thing with me. I do. Miss Emily, you know, enough time when I go to my bed, I just put the phone from Parliament workplace today, and then, all right, then I drop asleep.
Very good. But turn the phone down on the face, because you see that blue light there?
No, I put it one towel over the turn.
Yes. Very good, because the blue light can stop you from getting the quality sleep for you to repair your body. So you're listening to the right things and you're learning, and you come here with a very curious mind, and I love that.
And I subtract something from Miss Forting early this morning, but I won't share those discussions with you until
come done with
Monday
you now.
week.
Monday week. Take care. All right, that's the end of the tutorial with East Central. Have a great weekend.
Yes, please.
All right, take care. 926-7615, morning.
Blessed morning to you, Miss Church Sister. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. So who is this?
Cuban.
Yes, hola.
All right, here I know. I don't want to confuse the thing. I'm brand Rasta, you know. And
Cuban, I even know one word of Spanish. Or I really are going in a John shop.
No. Me no.
Eh? You're real Cuban?
No, man.
Or you're
Jamaican.
Habanan?
Jamaican Cuban.
What you say? You know want Clifton Brown get called Rasta man when Clifton and a Rasta?
No, hear me no. Rasta no here and a long hair and long beard, you know.
That's true.
That's a Rasta, you know.
Yeah.
Rasta, a principle.
It's not a dreadlocks thing. It's a divine conception of the heart.
I'm going to tell you.
Use them word.
I don't want them confused up long hair man with Rasta, you know. Rasta, there are certain things that Rasta no involve themselves in, you know.
Yes, I agree.
All right, that's it.
So you're a long hair man or you're a Rasta?
I'm a Rasta.
But you have long hair too?
One time.
So what now?
Me cut it.
No, yeah, Rasta.
You see, the reason I cut my locks,
you touch John.
Hold on. The reason I cut my locks, you know, is that I see some man with long hair. And long hair upon them head and long beard, and some things will come out of them mouth and some things that them do. Me no want nobody mix me up with them kind of.
But you don't have to watch what somebody do. Come I see some people say them go to church and take communion. Oh God. Are the wickedest people them.
Yeah.
But that no stop me from go to church, Cuban.
No, but you know, so when Jesus said I tried to hurt, you know, every time him go to church, the church people them in a problem, you know, so that's why that's why I go up on the seaside and the riverside.
Yes. And go dance.
Yeah.
Go turn over the gambling table and all them something there.
I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's it. Kuya.
Mm-hmm.
Kude.
Mm-hmm.
You know them already?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know, say every parish in Jamaica, when you go in the rural parishes, almost every district have a different kind of patois.
As is England, there's a different accent in different parts of England that some people can't even understand.
Yeah, man.
Do you know that?
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
I know that. That said, yesterday, you and your co-host say something about a man going to a bar and go buy a drink, and before long a crowd of people come in to want to drink.
Yeah,
anyway,
DT, X and Y. Mm-hmm.
My father spent over 30 years in America on the farmer program.
Mm-hmm.
And when him come Jamaica for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks because he was working in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And one time him come and him go in a bar and invite a brethren to come have a drink with him.
Mm-hmm.
When the brethren are coming at the bar, the brethren signal to one of them friends to come.
Mm-hmm.
This man just come from America, he have money.
Hold on, Cuban. Hold on a second. Back with you in a moment. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you. I do have inside banking with NCB, but I love the bar joke. Cuban, finish the bar joke. Let me go to NCB.
Yes, so the gentleman come in and him call him friend.
Mm-hmm.
My father, I really think we are tell about, you know, my father order a half glass. The man said, make it a flask. My father asked a bottle of water. The man said, bring a Pepsi too.
Mm-hmm.
So them drink. And the man friend drink. When my father finished, him say, he asked the bar rough how much him owe. The bar rough say,
where you call it bar rough?
Well, you have bartender, you have bar rough, you know, and all of them tender.
Like a bully blender. DT right now on the bar rough for X and Y. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So, the bar rough tell him how much you want. He said, no man, I ordered half flask and a back with some water.
Yeah.
The man said, but it's a flask. And said, no, me had a half flask and that me a paper. And pay for the half flask and left the man with the Pepsi and the half. Before the man know what I said.
No, your father is a wicked dude for do that.
No, him no wicked. If you ask the man if him can afford to sponsor him friend, you call your friend.
We get the vibes.
Yeah, you see me?
We get the vibes. Thank you, Cuban.
You take care.
Let's continue, and then we will go up to meditation and news at the top of the hour. 2178. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, good day.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Hotline program.
It is. You're live. Who am I talking to?
Oh, you're talking to Paulette.
Welcome, Miss Paulette.
Portland, we're having a little rain over here.
No?
Yes.
But I'm used to it. Every minute rain fall up Portland and then stop and fall.
Used to it. If you notice, we don't have no much flood, you know. It will just water away grass them, but we don't have no much flood. Yeah, it's climate change in Portland.
That's very strange then.
Yes.
So you don't have a lot of rain anymore, that's what you're saying?
We have a little rain, but we don't have any flood answer. Even with the hurricane, if you notice, a tree brought down a brook, but we didn't have no much rain. Trust me, as all other parish was flooding out.
But are you still getting the amount of rain you normally get at other times of the year?
No, not to me.
But that is serious because don't you have a lot of bananas there?
We have a lot of banana. Right now I'm looking at my banana, my coconut, my that name planting and all those things.
And them are dead?
No man, they're green and pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, every morning we get a little drops and God water we plant them.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm calling about the land that they break down and so. I really feel it for the houses them. And one thing I'm asking, if they know that is people who don't own the land, what I think the government should do is go into do an investigation before they ever break down their house. Send somebody in there to buy a piece of the land if you want to catch the person that doing it.
No, government don't have no duty to do that, Miss Paulette, to go catch a fraudster.
I know, but guess what?
No.
That can't help little crime solving in Jamaica.
No, well, they will meet their just desert because we understand it's a criminal enterprise. They will meet it. But government, listen, you see, we, Miss Paulette, the country is made up of us.
Yeah.
Anything what we want to stop, we have to be part of the solution. Right? We cannot, the people that we call government are people just like us.
Yes.
And we are creating harm for ourselves by closing our eyes to some common sense question what we need to ask when people come to we with something and then we expect government to step in to solve it.
Yes, but I was saying that, right? He come out and he said, right, there is gunman or whatever, or whatever.
Gangsters over there, yes.
Right, over there. Okay? What I think in Jamaica to solve some crime, if we think we know things, right, we can send out some people to investigate certain things.
But why we need to send out some people when the people who have been victims of this so-called Clifton Brown, they already know they can describe the person. They probably have a phone number. Somebody may have gone to a yard where Clifton Brown is. What they all need to do is to go and give information to the fraud squad and also try and sue him to get back their money if them can find him.
Them can find him. That is one.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I don't say them right, but this morning I wake up and I think about it. I am building my house over 15 years now and it not finished. Right? Not finished because I'm taking my little time. And trust me, right? If somebody could come and break it down now, I'm telling you, I would go crazy.
Yeah, but your situation is so different. How many years you say you built it?
I'm more than 15 years.
That's the point.
More than 15 years now. Well, 15 years now I'm on the ship working. Right? So it's more than 15 years I'm building it. I'm taking my little time each time I come.
Yes.
Right? I understand. And Yes, sir. This morning I wake up and I was thinking about those people and I cry because I don't say everybody. It's not everybody who have sense. It's not everybody have sense enough. I listen to your program. I hear what you said. Who they need to listen, pay for it. I understand it's illegal, right? I understand all of that. But I really cry for them because I know how hard it is for me to build this one. And it's not said they was putting up some borders. A ton of steel is for how much money? Boy, I really feel it for them. Honestly, I feel it for them.
Thank you for the thought.
Yes, I really feel it for them. And I hope, I said what I said. Yes, they did wrong from the first time. But I think the government must go out and give them something for all those houses that they build. Maybe they all people, they borrow money, they do this, they do that. Oh my God, Emily, you are doing a very good job.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. I have to go to meditation. God bless you. And news. Good afternoon, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. Time now for X and Y.
Pinky? Can you say that in patois?
That is good. Pinky?
No.
No?
Time now for...
Oh. Time for X and Y in patois? Time for Hicks.
A time now for the X and Y.
A time now for the X and Y. Yeah. Pinky's here.
So,
bar off.
Oh, well, let me get my sandpaper now. It really wasn't bar rough we used to call it. We used to call it bar tough. So you have bartender and bar tough. So the female would be the bartender, and if a man I run a bar, I'm a bar tough.
I never even hear about no bar anything apart from bartender. Bar tough.
Yeah. So, but they call us it bar rough. But we used to call it bar tough. Tough, tender.
Toughy.
Yeah, the man tough.
Where's Toughy, by the way? But Toughy used to strike for Jamaica. Go watch Toughy play.
A Waterhouse in play.
I think it's Waterhouse he used to play for, but I saw him play on the...
He played for Waterhouse.
I saw him playing a friendly at the stadium some time ago.
Well, it wasn't running in a bar, so it was a different kind of tough.
Just tough. Fee.
By the way, I got an explanation for the martial law thing. Of course, we know most of the things is a corruption of the language, really. So, is it corruption? No, well, people just talk how them understand the thing. Simple. It's not, I don't want to call it no corruption or nothing. People just say, I saw me understand it. So, the explanation is that the martial law thing is coming from martial law. And that was something that perhaps could be compared, my words now, to maybe state of emergency. So it was a law that provided the authority with the right to do whatever they want to do to you. So people would be fearful if there was a declaration of martial law, because you wouldn't want them to get you under that law. You're not so sure what they would do to you, whether they would shoot you or they would beat you, or as the case may be. So that's why you're here. But if you ever trouble me, I'm mashallah.
What a mashallah.
What a mashallah, yes. And for the persons who are from Portland, there was a Bryant's Bay thing that came into play there, where there was a train stop at Bryant's Bay. And of course, usually at the train stop, there's a gate man who uses flag to, stop the train or whatever else may be coming. So if you trouble anybody, they would say, I know you're a top train at Bryant's Bay. After I know you're a top train at Bryant's Bay, ma.
But what that mean?
Well,
how much power does a man have, so?
Well, I suppose you mean the man who's stopping the train? Well, the train drivers would obey the flag because the flag would indicate whether it's clear to go or not to go.
Top trainer Brian's
I know you're a top trainer, Brian.
That's fascinating. I love it. I'm not a top trainer, Brian's.
You're not a top trainer, Brian's. All right, so tell me about the pot now, where you put in the fridge and can't remember. Because I've never heard that one.
You never heard it?
No. So if you put the pot in the fridge.
You keep storing food overnight in a pot in the fridge. You knock your memory. You can't remember nothing.
I know about you drinking pot soup. They say you won't grow no hair on your, or you will grow hair on your toes.
Pot water?
Pot water. We don't used to call it no pot water. We call it pot soup.
We never say pot soup. It's pot water.
I say pot soup, pot water.
You mean?
So
like you just cook? It's not a soup. You
weren't cooking soup, but usually when you cook like the yam, potato,
banana, everything, and you drink that water. A pot water. You call it pot soup?
Them call it pot soup too. As if there's any other soup other than out of the pot.
But that is not a soup. So you don't know how them get pot soup and a pot water. And sometimes you just feel for some pot water, you know.
But they're not the same thing. When you're cooking soup, don't you put everything in it? Except
meat.
That you put things to flavor it up.
Yes, you have to put meat, soup or deliberate soup. But you can't cook food without water.
But then you used to cook with the saltfish on top of the food.
Yes, but you can cook it without the saltfish.
And sometimes the mackerel.
No. That's a wickedness.
No. There was mackerel and there was a thing called shad.
Yes, I know about shad.
Yeah, and when they were cooking like dinner with your yam, banana, dumpling and all of the rest of it, then put the shad on top of it, man, and the saltfish on top of the pot because they make sure say that is at the very top.
Yeah.
So you can't just take it out before
mackerel yet.
Everything else. Because
salt mackerel have a different vibes, different flavor.
You never put what?
Salt mackerel have to cook separate from food.
No, man. And some people use the salt mackerel to salt the pot.
Yeah.
And that tastes good. So you have to get a pepper now and you just put that in there.
All them
No, go boil till in teeth.
Pepper. No, I just have more shad. Where the saying come from? You're mad like shad.
I'm not sure. I've often heard that.
I wonder if shad used to run up and down like it mad.
We're going to have to investigate that.
Swim up and down.
Mr. Crawford, you have to tell me how that one goes.
Mad shad.
Vivian Crawford from the Institute of Jamaica.
Where did they get that
You're
from?
mad like a shad. Boy, I'm mad like a shad. I think they were just rhyming.
No,
you know, feel so?
No, it come from something, man. Just like when we say your face stuff like a Spanish town handcuff. That definitely come from Spanish town handcuff, must have look.
No, well, I think, hold on, I don't know. I just want to say you're ugly. Ugly. Having said that, it brings a story to my mind.
What mother shad mean?
Let me tell you this story. When we were growing up, there used to be a tourist train that would travel from Montego Bay to Appleton. It used to be a one-coach thing. So, you know, usually the one they call the diesel. They used to call one diesel, you know, a one train. The train was a luggage carrier. And the diesel would not carry any luggage, just the coaches. Right. Anyway, there was this tourist train that used to travel from Montego Bay to Appleton in St. Elizabeth. And it would come at a certain time and people would... It really used to drive the economy down there. Because tourists come and people go around there with all kinds of things to sell and them make themselves, well, do all kinds of things to entertain tourists. Some play five, some dance, all kind of something. And as you know, tourists not really, well, there are certain people who not really dance like Jamaicans. They not dance so well. So there was this man living in the community. Man, everybody's just call him double ugly. Call them things that the man ugly, and the man really wasn't ugly. But anyway, there was this particular family, and there was a young one among them, and look at the man, and little girl say, "Oh, mommy, there's a monkey." Out of that, don't? And the man never call monkey, But as if that wasn't bad enough, the man looked on her and say, "Who you call monkey?" You know what she said? "Oh, mommy, it speaks."
Children. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I had a situation. There's this man who had, some people look like them have more teeth, more than one mouth can hold.
Yeah, double 44.
And they, a little pitney to the man as, Mommy, does he bite? full of her teeth. Does he bite? So children say the darndest things, don't they?
What was she comparing the teeth to that of a dog?
Must be. Man, full up her teeth.
Only dog have so much teeth.
Some people mouth look enough, man. Enough. Them when teeth are out, them they are front. I'll go back for more. More on the back. Yep. So have you ever seen a mongoose?
Yes.
In a house?
I've not. I don't recall seeing any mongoose in any house.
And if you see mongoose in the house, so you know see a mongoose.
But they'll go in the house, man. They will, especially now that most of the cane fields are not around. So they're left to just roam the streets and the yards. So they will go in the house, but I've never seen any in the house. But I've seen them very near.
Mangoes.
But mangoes are afraid of you, They're not coming near you. So I don't understand how come a mangoes was near to walking shop dead. Because once mangoes are here in the body, mangoes gone.
And like them hearing good. Animals have extremely good hearing.
Yeah, but they're fierce though,
The mangoes?
Yes. They're not afraid of nobody.
What them say? What the tune of mangoes are sing? We not frightened for nobody.
But yeah, the mangoes, have you ever seen them tackling like all them?
The only time I've seen mangoes is when they're running across the way. Walking shop say, yeah? Bash it.
But,
animals have extremely good hearing.
Yeah, but they're fierce though,
The mangoes?
Yes. They're not afraid of nobody.
What them say? What the tune of mangoes are sing? We not frightened for nobody. No boy, no better down way. Walking shop say, yeah? Bash it.
But yeah, the mangoes, have you ever seen them tackling like all them?
The only time I've seen mongoose is when they're running across the road. I've never seen them up closer. So I'm surprised that he's seen a mongoose and know the mongoose.
You know that they used to set trap to catch them?
No. I know rat trap. I don't know about mongoose trap.
They have mongoose trap, man. I think some time ago somebody sent us a picture of a mongoose trap. You used to set mongoose trap, man. Catch mongoose. Because in the after for instance the mangoes don't have no cane field to run in now. And no snake. Them prey on your fowl. So, and country people used to have a lot of fowl.
Yeah.
What them call the fowl them?
What them call them? Depends on what kind of fowl. That sense, eh?
No, man.
You appeal neck.
Everybody are just common fowl as long as
common fowl, yeah. Yeah, rooster. I had a lot of chickens when I was growing up. And the boy named Weddy thief out my chicken them. Weddy thief my chicken. And I go south go see him.
But I not chicken them, man. I just fowl.
I just fowl.
Yeah.
Where do you used to thief them?
Thief all.
I me see myself about 10 years ago. I say, where the
2 foot mangoes.
Where do you remember when you used to thief me fall? Where they say no? Me say you stay there, me remember though. I think Kirk come and give me 1 chicken. And the chicken lay. I had a whole heap of common fall. And where the thief me fall?
But mangoes never thief none. So you had to battle 2
where is the mango?
2 foot mangoes.
Mango. That's X and Y. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. Liz, one of your comrade colleagues messaged me to say the idea of the formation of a political party was O.T. Fairclough's and H.P. Jacobs. They went to NW Manly to lead it because NW had an organization called Jamaica Welfare, and he was an eminent barrister. So all 3 are founding fathers, with NW being the founding president. He was the one who explained the name and the purpose at the Ward Theatre on the 28th. Is it the 28th or the 18th of September, 1938? Yeah, so that's the note I got from a comrade. 7615, hello? This is the hotline.
Oh, I finally got through.
Who is here? Who is
Streetside Pharmacy, man.
Yes, man. What go on street side?
Boy, no long net drive. Anyway, a pot water in pot soup.
Hey, I don't know where.
Oops, sorry.
Where do people then get pot soup from?
Excuse me.
Them call it that in some parts as Olo Palm on Twitter say pot soup. We call pot water. Yeah, but we call it pot water in Westmoreland.
Pot water. But I'm boy, when you have X and Y, a couple of days ago, I try something I don't know that talk about. But anyway, long time now. All right, first today business. Him with the lady, we say them should have run a sting operation, right? Them should have run a sting operation. And I think she's correct, because the Prime Minister said them find say gang members up there and them must sell property and this and that. Then if you tear down everywhere to remove the people, then let's go somewhere else, go to them business. So run sting and get rid of the people that get rid of the gang members then, since that's why you go there.
Well, I understand.
Mass destruction, you say down there. So go clean them out.
As far as I understand, it sounds like the criminality is not, there's criminality unconnected with the sale of the land. And there's obviously criminality with the sale of the land that them don't belong to them, but them selling it anyway.
Yeah, but then say when him did talk, him say the criminal them sell the land.
Yes, but there's criminality outside of the sale of the land. It look like.
Yes, but when him talk, it's like the same one man do the criminality outside.
Yes, I sell the land too.
Get money if they do something.
Yes.
So at least he can get rid of some of them that way.
Yeah, but
if them run this thing, they're not going to find nobody. I go tell him, say, hey, some Tom Strokes at
But this is it. No, street side. This is it. No, this is the problem I have. Everybody want police to run sting. What do you think is a sting? How the police can run sting without the people?
Then, but hold on. But if they go there, then we find out who
how?
Sell it and go buy from them.
How them to find out?
If you go wait, my problem is this. If you go wait for somebody come tell you that this, that, and then by tomorrow, then dead the car police got to say, no, that Tom Stroke tell me.
So tell me something now. So the police must go undercover to go put himself in harm's way when you have people who have bought.
I'm job.
No, this is street side.
Yes.
This is the problem I have with this country, Every single thing, which is the solution, we want nothing to do with it, and we want police to go set up sting when we have 20, 30, 40 people who have information over there, who lose millions by their account and should be invested in the solution. And them not be part of it?
Then me lose my money to the or me buy or me know say them a do it. And me go tell police and tomorrow me dead.
So the police must go undercover. For the police go dead.
Him take a job that him to do it.
No, the job is not for the police.
Stop go tell people who tell them.
No, the job is not for the police to do everything for the country that the country needs to do for itself.
I agree, but anytime you go tell them nothing, them see them and tell back the people them, you have to go court, go testify, and them now protect you, and them now, and if me, then now give me no gun license, and all them way there. So what me if you do?
You can't get no gun license because you serve time.
But what that have to do with it, that me can understand. Me not to protect my life because me in another country and serve time.
Got the law is so.
But what kind of fool law that?
Why the law say if you're a convict for a certain type of crime, then you're not eligible.
And that means I have to then go get my own illegal, go and keep it, my want to save my life.
If you want, go back there.
Then that, you know, move back. It's just that one little man, I go stop me for one little foolishness now like speeding. I'm not going to keep him now from the jail for it.
But speeding, if you get a ticket for speeding, you not have to go to jail.
Almost that thing can go to me. I'll find gun or something. Then I won't take no chance with no police if me I drive with the gun. A police can't stop me.
But Lord have mercy. Why? Why police? I don't understand why police can't stop me.
If me got me illegal gun I travel with.
Yeah.
Me not know if he can me go to prison. Any one of them try to stop me gun.
But where you drive with illegal gun for?
Then on that me I say if that happen, then me can't get it legally, and me go get one illegal if it happen and me want to protect my life. Because me not depend on them to protect me. But anyway, me no want to go down the road that me call about. For a long time now, me I try me hear say something, but me don't know if I don't clear up on time. Two things. One is centrally call about one word, but it sounds to me like the word, when did I look for one of the other two word, Latin word, was, oh God, corpus delicti.
Yes.
Well, no, in Jamaica.
Yes, I figured out the other day. I figured out the next day and told him. Corpus delicti.
Because I usually say tie instead of team, you know, understand? Why? Because it's Latin. And when me not the Latin, the items are east zone.
Oh, I didn't do Latin at all, so you must.
Because then I have the other one when them put off the case, when they call it
cyanide.
But I seen it here. Everybody has a cyanide.
Hold on. Hear this. Let me hear this. What is that something I say?
Corpus delicti.
Yes?
Corpus delicti.
Corpus delicti, this one say. But let me see which dictionary this. Which dictionary this? Let me see what is Oxford. May I look for? Let me see this.
Corpus delicti. Corpus delicti.
One Latin dictionary because when me know say Latin in a Latin the I sound AE six sound I sound in a Latin filii agricolae antennae AE get the I sound and the I because even when I do Spanish when you call the I in Spanish until I hear I Latina because that are the I sound in a Latin and the Y are I Grega because that are the Greek I sound that we say hygiene but a hygiene. Just like your physical, that are the I in a Greek, but in a Latin the I.
Me no know.
But
you may be right. Let me hear the cyanide now. Hold on.
Sine die.
Watch ya. Sine die.
Yeah, carpe diem. Remember?
Sine
yeah, carpe diem. Remember? Tempus fugit.
Sine die. Hold on.
Sine die.
It's the first me hearing this pronunciation street side. Sine die. And if me hear somebody say sine die, me don't know what them are talking about.
You don't know what them are talking about.
Sine die. Sine die.
And the case was put off sine die.
Like the snake die in the cane field. Snake die. All right.
The next one. When me when name again? The string hall.
Yes.
A hamstring. hamstring, or the hamstring, what's the matter, the hamstring?
Walking shop.
Yeah, a hamstring, you know.
Snake the day. All right.
The next one, when me, what name again? The string hall.
Yes.
A hamstring, or the hamstring, what's the matter, the hamstring?
Walking shop.
Yeah, a hamstring, you know, when them, like we run and then pull up.
Muscle contract.
Yeah, that's a hamstring.
But DT knows the string hall as a term that they use to talk about muscle contract in his country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that one there. But
so just
when
like
I hear him talk and I describe the pain, I come down the back of him leg.
Yeah.
I say, well, I hamstring, I get full.
Just like pot water, pot soup,
yes,
string hall, muscle contract. This is the beauty of life.
And
thank you.
Last thing, no. Well, yesterday, me talk about the in the bar here and get the bar joke. From my father, I used to do him and then going at the bar. Well, one time I seen do it. Going at the bar and the bartender, what's your name? And say, well, my name is such and such a king, right? And he say, I tell you what, give me a drink, the bartender. As a matter of fact, there's about 5 people in the bar, sit down about 2 place now drink. I said, as a matter of fact, give everybody a drink, because when Mr. Kingston drink, everybody have to drink. Every man run up to the bar. Father turn on and say, I just hope when Mr. Kingston pay for him bill, everybody pay for them.
Mr. King, all right, King Jr. Blessings, take care.
Okay then.
Thank you. Last one, I think, for the day. Hello.
Last man standing.
Oh, Jesus.
Miss Crooks, I still want to know, because the lady said she cried this morning. I mean, I eat from yesterday. I still want to know, the question I'm asking, if the Prime Minister before now did give these people notice.
I heard the Prime Minister say in the Parliament that notice was given to the people by the Sugar Company of Jamaica.
And yes, and how long? And if you send criminal over there, and the house them on your bulldoze, because I get to understand, because I couldn't even watch the news, I get to understand that those that were dead, them not bulldoze them.
Those that were what?
The one them were them dead, they not bulldoze them, and them were raised up to lintel and below. Them bulldoze. So I want to know if I the one them were not dead, the criminal them were in. Why you bulldoze some? I you know bulldoze.
This is why you should listen to the you have to listen to the speech in Parliament in full. It's only about 30 minutes.
Miss Crooks,
because no, what?
I do not, Miss Crooks. I have to what happened there yesterday.
No, but
and what happened there yesterday is ugly. I think it could have been done better.
It is ugly.
It come and tell the criminals over there. Why you destroy some of the houses and you left some? Why you never go with the bulldozer and give the people listen?
Because this is what I'm saying.
Because guess what, Miss Crooks? I am not supporting squatting enough.
But it's not
supporting in any form, no way. I am saying the people could have given better notice, sufficient notice to come off, and for you to
come off and do what? If they come, hold on, is knock structure. Is knock structure. So when you come off, what you going to do? You're going to take up the knock and take it with you?
Leave it. Left it. Give them some time as in this, if you cut out back some of the steel, take up their stand, take up their stone. You just give them 8 hour notice and just go in there, put in soldier and police in there before you left Parliament.
But let me ask you something. Let me ask you before I go, because I heard the man I interviewed said he doesn't live there. He rents somewhere in Grand Spain and he's building there. So if notice is given and he's not there and he doesn't see the notice, then anytime them go and see him sudden.
The lady before him
said
that the alleyway and no notice never put up.
Well,
I am saying the thing could have been done better.
Gotta go.
It is wickedness.
Last man not standing. Have a great weekend, comrade. Thank you to Kimberly Wright Broderick, my producer. Thank you to the Y, my X and Y, Daniel Thompson. Have a great weekend, listeners. I'm Emily Shields.